you guys are not going to believe this one. I came across another dirty Boca driver, and miraculously it was not Momo's, and this guy is potentially even worse. Hey guys, and welcome along to another video. If this is your first time hearing or watching all sorts of sim racing related stuff, subscribe now and click the bell icon so you get notified of every video I upload and you don't miss a thing. Now this is actually the race that I am going to be covering in a couple of videos time on my FIA manufacturers race here at the Red Bull Ring, but something went on in the background that I could not keep from you guys. And funnily enough, this driver that we're going to be concentrating on in this race is actually from the same team, the GT Boca team, as our friend Momo's. And at the GT Boca Christmas party, Momo said, "I am the dirtiest driver in Gran Turismo Sport," but Bert said, "Momo's my friend, hold my beer." Now after a relatively clean first lap of Bert's, we join him on a lap number 2. He's down in 15th at the moment, so it hasn't been a great session so far for him, but with a couple of decent moves he can make his way up hopefully to the top 10. Now keep an eye on the orange and the blue car up ahead. You'd think too far away for a move, not too far away for Bert's here as he lobs it up the inside there, and he's up to 13th, although momentarily as he gets overtaken by the Lambo there. Having a look at the Frenchman here, he's going to make a decent run down the outside of his countryman there, and then just look at how far away in the background Bert's comes from. Not only does he come from deep, he cuts the corner and then bumps him off for good measure, and this guy here goes from 13th all the way down to 16th. Now I know some of you are probably thinking, don't worry, Bert's just outbrakes himself, that's unfair. Well, if he did, he's going to do it again. He's down another 2 people here, so he's dive-bombed 4 cars in 2 corners, and this guy here, the pole, is going to take centre stage going forward. So of course, a little bit later down the line, as he goes through the penalty gate here, he's going to be forced to serve his penalties for the awful couple of moves that he was responsible for earlier on in the lap. And significantly, ignore the Mustang here as he comes through after Bert goes wide, the red Lambo is back on his tail and back in play. So we're going to switch now to the Lambo's view. The Mustang has just gone past Bert's here and we're about to start lap number 3. The Lambo here has got a run on Bert's, but decides to pull out, probably quite wisely, and some good life advice for us all there. It's always a wise move to pull out, as he would have got his nose absolutely chopped off by Bert's there into turn number 1. So he's sat behind him now on the run up to turn number 2. Probably the best overtaking point on this circuit. Bert's is going to brake very early and almost leave the door open there for the Lambo, and the Lambo is now up to 17th. We're going to switch now to Bert's view. Bear in mind that he dive bombed both at turn number 2 and turn number 3 on the lap previous. We're going to switch to the Lambo's view and watch him do it all over again. And if that wasn't bad enough, he's going to run him off into the gravel for good measure. Is anybody else beginning to feel quite sorry for the Lambo at this point? Once again, naturally, Bert's serves a penalty, and I said I felt sorry for the Lambo. This is exactly why, as they're brought back together once again. With more action to come, we're just going to transition across to the Lambo's view once more. Now bearing in mind, as I start lap number 4, Bert's clearly doesn't look in his rear view. Well, we don't think so at this point. It's wise for the Lambo not to make a move into turn number 1. So he's going to sit behind him here and hopefully get the run on him and make a move down into turn number 2. Now keep an eye on Bert's here. He clearly knows where the Lambo is and he clearly knows he's got a run on him. The Lambo's going to go to the right. Bert is going to cover him off and then brake right in his face, initiating contact. He's going to run him out of road and almost onto the grass there as he comes out of turn number 2, but then he's just going to run him onto the grass, round he goes, and Bert has run him off the track again. Now have a look at Bert's little red dot just above his red counter there. That's going to show where his steering angle is, so you can clearly see here he's adjusted to block him off there. Now watch this one. So it's obviously on the opposite side here. Watch him now just begin to push him off onto the grass, clearly intentional, and run him off the track. Absolute filth. And obviously he's going to get another penalty here, which he has to serve as he goes through the gates right now. Keep your eye in the background as it brings back into play the Lambo, who must be thinking at this point, what the hell have I done to warrant having to deal with this dickhead? Jumping forward slightly now to the end of the start-finish straight of lap number 5, Bert is going to go wide here, which is significant because, believe it or not, he's going to get another penalty, which he is going to have to serve at the gate coming out of turn number 2. Now, clearly looking in his rear view too much, he's doing a bit of swerving coming up the hill here. The Lambo and also a Frenchman in an orange Lexus is coming up behind him. So I'm going to flip views to Bert's view here. He's going to swerve and hit the Lambo and then try the same with the Lexus and run himself off the road in the process. But he's not done there. If that's not filthy enough, he's going to chuck it up the inside in one of his usual manners. But the Lambo is wise to it now, lets him go down the inside and then cuts back up underneath him, which clearly, judging by what happens next as we cut to this new view, has quite upset Bert. So we're coming down at the front straight here to start lap number 6. Now keep an eye on his throttle bar. You'll notice that it doesn't move at all as he goes for the punt on the Lambo, which he completely cocks up and the Lambo scampers off into the distance. Now having a look back from the Lambo's point of view, this is probably the best dodge that I have ever seen. So bearing in mind that he knows what Bert's is like at this point, a very, very dirty driver. Look at his little red dot above his speedo. So he sees him coming, a little jink there, he lays him, telegraphs the punt, foiling Bert's plan. At this point, Bert is very upset and somewhat dejected that his race hasn't quite gone to plan. So he's messing about here on the front straight. If you look on the mini-map how far away he is from everyone else, there's no point finishing at this point, but he's going to do the honourable thing because he's an honourable man and finish the race. Now here's some B-roll of how many more penalties he deals with. Here's one on lap number 7. He deals with another one if he can get out of the corner here on lap number 8. Another here on lap number 9. And you guessed it, another one on lap number 10. We all get the picture. Don't get penalties, otherwise your lap times will get ruined. But Bert's clearly doesn't understand that. Penalties will ruin your lap times, so will going off into the gravel. Here he is here going off into the gravel to add salt into the already so raw wounds of this FIA race. Now finally we are on the final lap, and I wanted to take a couple of minutes just to chat about GT Boca, the team in general. I've got a few queries, so let me know in the comment section down below if you know the answers to any of my questions. So obviously we've had issues with Momos before on a number of occasions, and he's also appeared on the Dirty Driver videos before, ruining other people's races. So we've had issues with Momos, now we've had issues with Berts. So who is the leader of Boca? What do you have to do to qualify to get into Boca? What's the criteria? Can I apply to get into Boca? Well, probably not actually, because I expose them regularly, it seems now. But what's the qualifying criteria, and what do you have to do to get kicked out of Boca? Because Momo's is still in it, this guy's still in it, so they must endorse that kind of dirty driving. But as Bert's here sits in the gravel waiting for his nightmare to end, I'm going to do a bit of a competition. Whoever comes up with the funniest abbreviation for Boca, B-O-C-A, I will send a t-shirt to anywhere in the world, and I'll announce it on Twitter. So make sure you're following me on Twitter, get commenting, and I look forward to reading your submissions. But for now guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks again so much for watching guys, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.